Morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy Tech Tuesday. Special guest with Benjamin and I. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Maddie. How are you?
I'm great, buddy. How you doing this morning? And we got our special guest, Danny Phee, with us. You're starting a new business or career. You want to get your message out online, but you don't know how, you don't know where to start, and you don't know what to avoid. Well, let me tell you, this is a great first step. This podcast is here to help you navigate the world of your business, sales, and networking for brand new entrepreneurs like us. How you doing, Danny?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. This is a beautiful morning. I'm ready to get started.
Absolutely, man. We've been enjoying some beautiful weather out here in Vegas. This is the nice part of the summer before it gets really blazing hot. So you're able to enjoy a little bit outside without too much of the heat that we're having to deal with. Today, Danny's joining us. Danny is a gentleman I've been watching for quite a while. He's an expert at video marketing, getting his message out onto video and able to broadcast that nation and worldwide to attract his perfect clients, okay? He and I are in the same space as a business. He's a real estate agent, and so am I, and he is crushing it with video marketing. He's able to get his message out to other cities and really duplicate his message so he can attract even more and more people to work with him. And that's really the bottom line when it comes to video marketing, is getting your message out and attracting people. So I asked Danny if he could come on, tell us a little bit about what he's done in video marketing, how he got started, what maybe apps that he's using that he can tell us that are making the job easier for him, and any bits of advice that he can give us. So Danny, tell us a little bit about video marketing, but first tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks. Thanks for the introduction. That was amazing. I really appreciate it. Video marketing is something that I was terrified of, and it's something I actually started in a different industry. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Cimarron High School, UNLV grad, and then ended up working down on the Strip like a lot of us do because there's good money down there, especially when you're young. It's kind of hard to get away from those tips, but I rose up in the ranks from a busser to a bartender to a bar manager to a general manager. And then all of a sudden, I graduated with a business degree, and they taught us a little bit about marketing, but it wasn't like real world stuff. It was like conceptual. And my boss is like, hey, I need you to start marketing, but you don't really have much of a budget, because he didn't believe in advertising. He wanted some sort of marketing, and it was up to me. And this was right around the time social media came out. And so we had an ultra lounge. I managed a group of DJs, bartenders, cocktail waitresses, and I had to figure out, how do I get attention on this place, especially when I have competition in the same building. We were at the Venetian, so I had competition against Tao. There was a new club there called The Act. Lavo was there, and we were just like an ultra lounge doing bottle service with only 14 booths, and I just had to learn how to get creative. So anytime we were busy with the conventions and having a good time, I would always, like, Snapchat was new. I would take my phone out. I would tell the girls and the DJs, get your phone out, show people the good time so the people in your sphere can see it, and maybe they'll want to come down. Maybe they'll tell people when others ask them, hey, where should I go in Las Vegas? And that simple strategy started attracting business to that venue. It was amazing. So when I got into real estate, I transferred those same tactics and strategies into real estate, and believe it or not, it works. So I think that this works for any business owner, any salesperson in the direct sales space.
Absolutely. Any service, a professional. I was in the trades for years doing concrete work, and I was starting social media there, showing our, start to finish concrete work, stuff like that. You're absolutely right. We can only talk to so many people, but when you put yourself on video, you're able to speak to so many people 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and when you hear the word video, a lot of people think, wow, I really need to maybe go to school for this, and I need this expensive camera and all of this amazing audio equipment, when the fact of the matter is, all I ever had was this. It's your phone. These things are more powerful than the original rocket and spaceship that got us up to the moon in the 60s. So this is really all that you need nowadays. And It's just a matter of not being afraid and being willing and courageous enough to just show what you're doing using your phone. And so when you say video and you say I'm an expert in video, it's kind of like, I don't know. All I do is pick up my phone and just show people what I'm doing and talk about what I'm doing, talk about the value I'm providing to people just using my phone with the video feature. And that's really it. It's that easy. But consistency has been the secret sauce for me.
So you think, just in listening to what you're saying, consistency really is what's elevating you. It's not the tools. It's really crafting your message and consistently putting out your message on video. Not doing the produced. You don't have to do these high-end productions. I saw you on a video, I think on an Instagram story, talking about a home inspection, what you were doing with a home inspection. These are things that I know I can be doing more of, but other people can do those in their businesses, whether they're installing an alarm system. They can talk about, these are the reasons these people called me out because they were worried about their neighborhood. I came in, I evaluated and showed, walk them through the house, and this is what we did. I mean, same kind of idea. And you've taken 4 words, really, and you've created a platform to teach others how to get started. And that was push button and record, right?
Yep. Press record and publish is basically one of the kind of foundational strategies. And it's that simple, but people get caught up in like, what should I say? It's really simple. It's like, what are you doing? That's what you should talk about. What are you doing today in your business? And why are you doing it? How is that providing value to your clients? Whatever business you're in, you're probably doing something in your business today if you're in business. And whatever that is, if you just got on camera and talked about it, maybe showed like whatever you're doing, if you're installing an alarm or you're doing I've seen this one guy in California, he does vent clean outs for commercial properties, like he cleans them out and he's always showing how he's doing and why he's doing it. And I learned from it. So what it does is it provides education to the people that are in your sphere, people in your network, people who see it. And education ultimately builds trust. And that's a huge component from bridging the gap between someone thinking about doing business with you to someone actually doing business with you.
100%. I mean, doing know, like, and trust. Those are the 3 things that move people closer to you. Once they know you, they can like you, then they can trust you. 100%. And video enables you to do that. 100%. Are there any apps that you use that you found, I know I've used a ton of apps. I go, okay, I don't like these, I like these. Things that somebody can start really easily. Just, push the button, start recording a video, maybe do a couple cuts, maybe a little bit of text, whatever. That way they can maybe elevate their name just a little bit right on their phone.
Yeah, I mean, in like for things that I'm going to end up doing as like an actual post on like Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere where you can post it and it's on like a timeline of some sort, I would edit it a little bit maybe if I needed to, like for a new listing and I wanted to add some text features. A lot of those I just do straight from my phone. They're starting to become more and more. So we all only have so much time. I'm learning how to maybe go on Fiverr and outsource some of that stuff. But on my phone, for me, what I've always done is I've tried a lot of the apps. I tried the iMovie app is on my phone, right? I've tried that. I've tried the Clips app. I've tried the there's so many of them, but the one I find myself continuously going back to is InShot. I really, really like that app for editing videos. It really allows you to play with the text. There's transitions on the text. You can do image overlays, so you can overlay images on top of the video straight from your Photos app in your phone. You can pull in a bunch of different video clips that you have saved on your Photos app right on your phone. And it's just really, really simple to use. You can drag and drop layers of audio. You can do voiceovers. So one of the strategies I use in my business is I'll go out and I'll capture, the new model homes that are being built. And I'll use a gimbal. That's an extra piece of equipment that I use just to stabilize the image, make the presentation nicer. Sometimes I'll put like a wide angle lens on the phone. There's a case that I bought on Amazon with a lens. just because when you're in tight spaces, it makes it a little bit wider and people can see more. I only added those things after I got a bunch of comments on YouTube like, hey, you should do this, you should do this. It was off of feedback, but really in the beginning, it was me holding the phone. Then someone on YouTube was like, hey, you should get a gimbal so it's stable. Then someone on YouTube was like, you should put a wide angle lens on so it's a wider angle in those tight spaces. And I was like, okay. And so you just take feedback from people.
Yeah, people are giving you feedback, helping you evolve in your craft and what you were doing with video. That's amazing.
Well, some of them weren't the nicest. The comment was like, this video sucks. You need to do this. And I was like, all right, I'll just take that. Instead of taking things personally from some of these maybe trolls, maybe they're actually, you can take the good out of what they're saying. And that's the way I looked at it. And people actually ended up liking it better. I was like, maybe I won't get someone who says this video sucks anymore if I actually listen to them. But I would edit it afterwards on this InShot app, and then upload it to YouTube with a description, maybe some links to the floor plans. And believe it or not, like some of those videos have like 5,000 views organically just because people are out looking for new homes. And once they see a community, they'll search that community in that specific model. And if I've made a video about that, because video optimizes great with YouTube, I'm landing on the first page on some of these models. And I've closed like $2 million in business this year off of videos that were created 2 years ago on YouTube that I edited on my phone with this InShot app. And I uploaded it on the YouTube app on my phone. I do it all from my phone.
And that's really the biggest takeaway of this whole interview with you, I think, is it's so easy. You don't need all the bells and whistles to get your point across. It's really your message and putting it on video and getting it out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is like a search base. It's something I evolved to with that YouTube strategy for homes. But the one thing that I would say, if you're getting started, bread and butter, and you don't know what to come up with, like I literally just use Instagram. And I'll just do Instagram stories. You can easily share the stories to your Facebook stories feed. So you're killing two birds with one stone there. And you just document your journey for the day. Like that one you said yesterday, I was out doing an inspection. I don't have to think about what kind of content to create. I just pull out the phone and say, I'm here doing an inspection. This is why we do inspections. And you know, if you have any questions about inspections, just shoot me a DM, and that's your call to action. It's those three simple things. And so if it's an appraisal that day, same thing for the appraisal. If you're going to the title company for a signing, talk about that. When you have more questions about settlement and why escrow or title exists, shoot me a DM. And then that can be applied for any business. What are you doing in your business today? Why are you doing it? And then if you have questions, shoot me a DM. It's like the three simple steps. And I drilled it in over and over, and people still ask, well, what do I do? I was like, that's all you do. That's it. That one thing consistently.
And it's so simple. And I know I don't do enough of it. I do my best, but I watch you as somebody that I learn from just by what you're doing. And that just makes such simple sense. You know what I mean? And we can do that in all our businesses. So Ben, he does a little bit different business where he wouldn't be able to do that. But for the most part, you know, any trades person, service person, professional, anybody can really do that. Here's the issue. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. If you have questions, here you go. Ben, I've kind of monopolized the situation, the conversation over here. Do you have any questions for Danny? Anything?
No, I just we talk about. It's funny that Danny talks about like he worked on the Strip, right? Like that's kind of a lot of our stories. I worked on the Strip also too, so I can relate with a lot of it, what he's saying. I mean, and this is the message, and this is why we created the group, and this is why we have this group, is because there's a lot of people that work on the Strip that start there. A lot of people go into sales there, if it's the club business. So that whole world, I understand that. And then trying to get out of that world, and Danny like shared his story, and that was like amazing. If a lot of people aren't listening right now, pay attention to that story, how he was able to like build himself up, right? And then we get to a point, because you're right, the money is great, but I still work on the Strip, so I still see the money's changed, right? The money is changing, so the attitude towards what it used to be and what it is today, it's always evolving. So I think it's a great story to hear him talk about how he's used his talents to now he's using it for himself to you know, do his own thing, right? I don't know, we can have a lot of stories, I'm sure. I'd like to hear more stories about him on the Strip and what, you know, what those stories, right? Like what was his, when was the time when he said, you know what, I'm done, I need to get off the Strip and I need to do my own thing? Like what changed your mind to say, hey, I need to be an entrepreneur, or I need to go into real estate, or what was the arm twist for you?
So it was forced, really. There was two parts. I was staying out, you know, I'd go in cause it was it was like an ultra lounge nightclub type setting. I would go in at like 5, 6 PM and I'd get home at like 3 or 4 AM. And at the time I had my first son in 2013, and, you know, I had my daughter in 2015. So I had 2 little kids at home, and one night I was going to work, and I remember my son, he's like, grabs me by the arm. He's like, Daddy, don't go. Like, I want you to stay home and tuck me in. And I'm like, I got to go to work. And I'm driving to work that day. I'm like, man, is this going to be what I'm doing the rest of my life? Like, am I not going to have nights with my kids? And that was one thing, right? But I was like, well, I still have to provide for my family. So this is what I do. And maybe I can find something in the day. But you know, I was developing those new skills with social media at the time. You know, even taking it, because I liked bartending. I liked mixology. I even created a YouTube channel called The Vegas Bartender, and I would create recipes. And I was like, maybe I can create like trainings for bartenders online and sell like classes. It's like I was thinking of different ways to evolve and grow and scale and make money online, because I recognized the power of internet marketing and the internet in general. But then at the same time, the V Bar was the name of the venue. It was at the Venetian, and it was, you know, they signed a 15-year lease in the year 2000, and this was like 2013, 2014. The senior vice president brought me in because we had our monthly meetings, and he's like, hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. You know, our lease is coming up, and it looks like there's a big bidding process on this, and we're not going to be bidding because it's just like double or triple what we would even consider. And Sugarcane is there now. It's a different venue, but ultimately my senior vice president literally gave me a 1.5 year notice. Yeah. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? Playing around with the idea of the bartending classes, molecular gastronomy. I was doing some things and getting a lot of views on YouTube. And I was, my mom was in real estate at the time. So I could have taken it any direction, really. I also was offered the AGM position at Gallagher Steakhouse at New York as an alternative. But I thought to myself, that's still going to keep me, you know, 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. before I'm off. The kitchen's closed, everything's cleaned up, then I can go home. And then holidays and weekends, forget about it, right? Super Bowl, forget about it.
No family time, right?
My mom was like pulling my arm, like, hey, you should just get your license, try it out for a year. You've got time. If you fail miserably, you can just stay in the industry. And so I ended up getting my license, applying those social media and video strategies to real estate, because they were teaching me open houses and door knocking and cold calling. And I was like, I hate when people door knock on. I hate when people cold call. Like, I'm not going to do that to people. And so video was the way. And I told myself, if I can match my salary from my general manager position, which was like 70 grand at the time, in this last year of real estate, then I'll feel comfortable walking away. And literally to the day the venue closed in December 2015, I had a commission check that matched almost to the 100th of the dollar my salary. It was the most incredible thing. And it was like that subliminal thing that happens in your mind somehow. I don't know how it happened, but it literally happened. And that was the last time I was in hospitality. I mean, there's hospitality components to real estate, and these skills have transferred incredibly well because customer service is a little bit lacking in our industry, Maddie. I think you can attest to that, but you know, coming from the industry on the Las Vegas Strip, it actually gave me a very strong foundation in sales and customer service in the real estate industry. So that's kind of the reason my arm was twisted a little bit, and I decided to make that leap from one industry to the next because of just the circumstances that lined up during that time for me.
Sure. That's great, man. And I think that's a lot of people's stories in the group or just in general. Here in Las Vegas, I meet tons. I have a lot of friends and here's the story I always tell people is that actually you're one of the great stories, because there's a lot of people that you don't hear from anymore. They're gone. They disappeared. Like, what happened to so-and-so? You're like, I don't know. Like, he's gone, right? They got into the club industry and they got involved in something. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, we kind of like, you're like, yeah, that he did, this happened, but that happened, but you just kind of don't, and we want to tell people, I like to tell people, hey, there's more to it than that. Just be careful. Because even nowadays, that industry, people are still getting sucked into that industry, and it's great. It's great to meet people. It's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but just be aware that the world, it's a different world than it was then, and I'm sure it's a different world today. And I've actually, and I'm in martial arts. I train a lot of martial arts. And I have a lot of friends that I've trained that get involved. Right, they're young guys. They're strong. They look good. They look good. They go into that world, and we don't see them no more. Or like, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, he's working nights now, and he doesn't have time to train. He doesn't have time to work out. He's out doing this. And you see their pictures they're all partying, having a great time, but the story, it's a different story than what you really know what's really happening. So,
yeah,
so
it catches up. There's a lot of temptation down there, and you got to learn how to either deal with that temptation or you fall victim to it. It's just, it's the nature of the beast down there. But I think that there's a lot of people who got their heads on straight. They just, yeah, you hear those stories though. And I was fortunate with that. I really was, but there is a way. There is a way to have side hustles. There's a way to grind out and make extra income and still keep that job. You just have to decide for yourself what kind of desire you have to make something like that happen, and don't fall into that trap down there on the Las Vegas Strip. That's for sure.
100%. So many people, they think it's so easy to get into that limelight. Luckily, when I came to this town, I fell in love with the actual Vegas city, not the Strip. And it's still a small town, and not getting sucked into the things that sideline your attention from moving forward. You know what I mean? And having that level head when your son was saying, hey, Dad, I want you here, and not just dismissing it and going to work and just doing business as normal. You're like, hey, man, I think I need to see what my future has, and I don't know if it was, sounds like your senior manager, I can't remember who you said, but was really mentoring you into a point or giving you enough rope to say, hey, at this point, we're going to be making a change, so get ready. And I don't know if a lot of people have somebody like that to rely on to steer them in the right direction, to say, hey, hey, you're doing something good, and give you a little bit of that encouragement, a little pat on the butt to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was, and he still is an amazing guy, really fair and honest. I've heard stories on the Strip when a venue is closing, they don't even give anyone notice. It's that day they walk in, and boom, that bombshell's just dropped on them. I mean, I've heard of it happening in recent venues. Like, I don't want to name names, but it happens. And it's very rare that someone like me was able to have the opportunity. Our staff, they ended up having I think 3 to 6 months. And the cool thing was I created such a culture where, not anything could slide. I had to do my disciplinary certain times, but my staff, we all liked working together. And they ended up staying to the end because they liked working there. And some of them still share posts and pictures and memories. Like this last couple of months during this lockdown, this one girl that we used to work with shared a whole bunch of pictures from back then. And everybody who was a part of it was a really special group. And, it all started from the top with the way that his name was Paul, set things up. And I told him at the time, hey, I'm making a transition. Possibly I got my license. And he was like, hey, this is on the table for you. If you want to take this position, you're at New York. But if not, best of luck. He ended up listing and selling one of his properties with me a year or two later.
That's awesome.
And so we still stay in touch, and he's one of the good guys on the Strip,
There's not a lot of them, unfortunately. And I don't want to say there's not a lot of them. They're not publicly announced. You know, you see a lot of the bad stuff. I mean, it's so easy to sensationalize all the bad that's in the world. I truly believe there's 10 times more good. It's just not shown as much. And there are those good owners and managers that look out for their people, you know, that want to do good, that want to see people elevate instead of staying in a position. You know, that's what I always wanted when I was a concrete guy. Is like, hey guys, you know, you guys are underneath doing the job. Learn how to estimate, learn how to do the job, want to own your own business, get a truck and do it for yourself. And I just think that's amazing. And using the video, learning it back then, kind of putting your feet to the fire, saying, hey, learn this and we need you to do marketing and figure it out to where you are now. What a journey, man. That just timeline, I'm sure you can reflect back on that with a nice scotch on a nice evening. Just think about that journey. I say scotch because I'm a scotch guy. But you know what I mean? Just to reflect on that journey is amazing. And we don't get to celebrate our wins. And buddy, you've got some great ones, man. Thank you so much for being here and sharing a little bit of your story with us. It's been amazing. We've had some great people join us saying what a great show it is. We got some people in here saying they're sharing it with their realtors out in different states. Anybody that's out there, Danny Phee is a real estate agent here in Las Vegas. He's out there teaching other agents and other people in industries how to use video, how simple it is, just to get your message out there. I really sincerely hope that you got a lot of value from this show. Danny really peeled back a lot of the story of where he originated to where he is now and some of the tools he's using now to carry on. So, Danny, truly appreciate you taking a few minutes this morning and spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. For any of you guys thinking about doing video, I still get the jitters. And when I first started, I had like 30 or 40 takes on Snapchat and only 2 people watched it. I was still worried about what they thought. But you know what? Just keep on going. Keep practicing like anything else. If you guys just keep practicing, staying consistent and just posting whatever you message you have to share, you're going to get better. And it's going to work for you. Those videos work for you years down the line after you post them.
That's awesome. Danny, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
You know, just at Danny Phee on Instagram, Danny Phee on Facebook. We have this podcast, Social Agent Secrets. Maddie, you were the most recent guest talking about Facebook groups, and we've got some pretty big players in the industry who have come on and shared their insights. And I talk about my story and journey, similar to what I did here on this episode. So if you just check out the Social Agent Secrets podcast too, you'll find a lot of free value there. Yeah, man, Danny Phee, DANNYPHE on Instagram. I'm always responding any direct messages you have. You got any questions? More than happy to help, and I respond to all my direct messages personally.
That's awesome, buddy. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead. We'll put the copy together for the post. We're going to put the Social Agent Secrets group in there along with tagging you. So that way people that are seeing this later can go ahead and connect with you if you have any questions. Maybe you're a real estate agent in Washington, Rhode Island, Delaware, and you have a question about using video. I don't care what industry you're in. We already talked about that. You can use that for any industry that you can think of, professional service tradesmen. So Ben, thank you so much for today, Tech Tuesday.
Tech Tuesday, hashtag Tech Tuesday.
Hashtag Tech Tuesday. I'll get it right for sure every time from now on. So everybody, thank you so much. Get out there, slay the day, and I hope you're having a fantastic day, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.